Welcome to another episode of Russian Hate Speech, where we break down the Kremlin's latest lies against the West. During the program 60 Minutes Special Edition on July 17, 2025, Igor Korotchenko, editor-in-chief on the National Defense Journal, equated German politician Friedrich Merz to Hitler.
This is all part of global geopolitical game. Germany plays an extremely destructive role. Today, Merz is new Adolf Hitler.
This statement reflects a core propaganda tactic. This branding of Germany's political leadership as reincarnation of Hitler reflects a repeated Kremlin propaganda tactic of equating European leaders with Nazis to vilify Western political decisions, to evoke historical trauma and legitimize Russia's aggression. Merz's support for Ukraine is deliberately twisted into something sinister. On Western Daily, aired on June 13, 2025, Dmitry Kiselyov, Director General of the Russian state media outlet Russia Today, continued this Nazi comparison.
It's a fact. If Merz sees Germany's political freedom as the right to support the Nazi regime in Ukraine, then this all resembles the Third Reich's complaints about the lack of living space. Just one generation has passed since his Nazi grandfather, and now Friedrich Merz solemnly vows to guarantee political freedom for the whole continent by defeating Russia in war.
By suggesting Ukraine's government is Nazi and likening the current events to expansionism ambitions of the Third Reich, Russian propaganda attempts to frame contemporary European security commitments as an act of revived fascism. Kiselyov continues the Kremlin's narrative that modern German support for Ukraine is a simply revival of Nazi expansionism, distorting history to paint Russia as the eternal victim and moral authority. On July 13, 2025, during Sunday evening with Vladimir Solovyov, the host proposed that any factory supporting Ukraine anywhere in the world should be considered as a legal military target.
Why don't we officially declare that any factory working in the interest of or under contract with Ukraine, no matter where it is located, is a legitimate target for us? Maybe then Germany wouldn't be so eager to weaken its air defense system. Or is it too much? Maybe we are the ones misunderstanding something?
Solovyov's rhetoric aims to justify attacks on foreign infrastructure, expanding Russia's definition of military targets to civilian facilities worldwide, a classic move to threaten escalation beyond the battlefield. This is a chilling attempt to justify global strikes on civilian infrastructure, openly threatening escalation far beyond the Ukrainian battlefield. Later, in the same episode, Solovyov and Henry Sardaryan, dean at MGIMO University, continued mocking Merz with dehumanizing language.
Why does Merz behave like this? You have seen his statements. I have a message for Russia. We Germans will not give up, and so on. Why he is acting like this?
Because we won't take them prisoner.
That's one reason. Genetic memory. Yes, and the second is that none of their past provocation received an adequate response from us. Let's be honest. They have committed blatant terrorist acts against Russia. Our state would say, "We'll respond so harshly you won't know what hit you." But that response never came. And the more it continues, the more disconnected from reality they've become. If we strike back properly a few times, I assure you, Merz will only be able to move at us.
This grotesque rhetoric is designed to humiliate, dehumanize, and justify retaliatory violence. It portrays Germany not as democracy, but as an aggressor whose leader needs to be put in their place. This segment exemplifies how Russian television frames German policy as both genetically coded aggression and fueled by Russian impunity, amplifying Russia's patience for restraint is running out. Also, On July 17, 2025, Korotchenko again spoke on 60 Minutes special edition, this time alleging that the UK and Germany are secretly planning strikes on Russia.
The geopolitical landscape in Europe is changing rapidly and not for the better. We saw footage of German Chancellor and British Prime Minister walking through the streets of London. But in reality, that's not Starman and Merz walking. It's World War III marching. We must take those documents they have signed very seriously. They are classified part, similar to the old secret protocols. It's crucial for us to analyze the military technical background of these agreements. What, on the surface, the development of a new long-range strikes missiles systems. For the first time, Germany will have the capability to strike deep into Russian territory. Its declared range means that under certain conditions, Merz could strike Moscow. That's a serious threat to our national security.
By invoking secret protocols and World War III, this statement reinforces Russian narrative of encirclement and existential threat used to justify any preemptive military action. In this narrative, every step to modernize European deterrence is portrayed as evidence of deliberate scheme to attack Russia, echoing historical grievances and warning of escalation if Russia is provoked. On July 14, 2025, during the same program, Russian MP Andrei Isayev declared that confiscating Russian state assets would constitute an act of war by the United States.
The seizure of sovereign assets is a direct act of aggression by the United States against Russian Federation. It's not mediated by Europe or Ukraine. Not even Biden dared to go this far. If it happens, it will mean that the glorious story of Trump as peacemaker has ended. The deep state he hates has put him on track he can no longer leave. It will show that he has essentially renounced peace and become a partly openly involved in the aggression against our country. We won't have to wait long. I think we'll get an answer soon.
This message combines anti-Americanism with internal US political manipulation, portraying Trump as a puppet of the deep state and framing financial sanctions as acts of war. Such statements are meant to paint the United States as moving beyond economic pressure to outright warfare, hoping to justify further escalation by Russia. Thank you for joining us today. Stay tuned for the next episode of Russian hate speech, as we continue exposing the Kremlin's war on reality.